Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Comic Books NYC. It's been a minute since I've done a live stream. I've been doing a little bit of traveling, and one of the people I met along the way of my travels is Mr. RB3 Comics. Ray, what is up, my friend? Thanks for joining me tonight.
What's up, everyone?
So, RB3, aka RB3 Comics, Ray, aka RB3 Comics, rather, was one of my gracious, I guess, hosts, driving buddies.
Taxi driver.
Yeah, I was gonna say chauffeur, but I didn't want to devalue your role in my Vegas trip. But dude, it was awesome hanging out with you, brother, man. I just want to start off with that. I was there to spend a little bit of time with my brother, but I also got to, hang out with you, and I feel like you're another brother. So I really appreciate the hospitality that you showed me. So.
Not a problem, buddy. It's great to get to meet other people in this community and just interact with them and have a good time. I mean, that's basically all we did. We hung out for, oh my God, what, 8+ hours?
8 hours or something on Friday, which was
just chatted, had fun, drove around, ate. So it was really great.
It was really cool. And I'll get into sort of more of the specifics in a second. But I'm going to say what's up to some people in the chat. So we had some early comers here. Comic Man Andy was in the house. D-Runk George, what's up, my friend? Good to see you guys. Sharon was in here. Life with Two YouTubers. Always good to see you, Sharon. They're talking about a little bit about the broken toe that I suffered, which I'll share a little bit more about. Nothing that interesting. I broke it yesterday morning. Can't get enough's in the house. What's up? And Geeks, Drinks, and Comics is in the house. He says he's at work, but he'll catch the replay later. No worries, brother. Mike, the Collector's in the house, saying what's good, folks. Thank you for stopping in. So. Thanks everybody for hopping in. I know this is a busy night on YouTube, so I appreciate you choosing to spend your time here on Comic Books NYC channel. Comics for All People #1, another loyal viewer in the house. What is up, man? Thanks for stopping in. So it's New Comic Book Day. I wasn't able to actually go to the shop today. I had a bunch of work to do, and then I had a post-work meeting that I needed to do before this, and I wanted to make sure that this started on time. So I had to cut one thing out of the schedule, and that was going to Midtown Comics and picking up my weekly books. So I will hopefully be able to do that tomorrow or Friday at some point, and maybe I'll get a video out like I did last week. So I apologize, guys, for that. But anyway, it's good to be here with RB3 and everybody here tonight. Comics for Blame is also in the house. What's up, man? Comics for Blame's been tagging me on Instagram, and I've been just lagging. Like, a lot of people have been tagging me on Instagram. I've just been lagging with the posts. I really got to get on that. And I don't know. Sometimes I'll go like several days without posting a book on Instagram, and I get all these tags, and I start feeling like guilty because all these people are tagging me, and I'm not doing it. It's really just I shouldn't feel guilty, but I do. So there you go. I'm just going on a total side tangent here. So Vegas. All right. So I arrived. When did I arrive, Ray? Like 8:30 in the morning, something on Friday.
Friday morning.
Yeah, Friday morning. Very early. It was a red-eye flight. I think I just wrapped up hanging out with JP Budget Collecting and George D-Runk Comics on JP's channel on a live stream on Thursday night about cutting JP's pull list. So I did that show on YouTube, and then we hung out backstage for a while. And then I had 3 hours to like pack, take a nap, head to the airport, get on a red-eye, and get to Vegas. So that's what I did. Yo, what's up, Mark Knapp 68? Thanks for stopping in. So that's what I did, and I arrived super early, 8:30 in the morning or so. Landed in Vegas, hit up Ray. I was like, yo, I'm here. I'm gonna head over to the hotel, see if I can check in early. Of course, they don't have any rooms ready for me, and they upsold me like a $20 fee for like, checking in early. I bit. I was a sucker because I didn't want to wait around until 3 in the afternoon when it was like 9 in the morning to check into my hotel. So I did that. 30 minutes later or so, I get a call. My room's ready. So I'm checked in. So then I take a moment to sort of like clean up, shower, whatnot. And by like 10:30 in the morning, we were talking about heading out to, go do some comic hunting or whatever. Ray headed over to the hotel that was staying at the Rio. And I think by 11 o'clock, maybe a little even earlier, we were out the door on the way to check out some comic shops and hang out for a good majority of the day. Our first stop, I think, was Starbucks, right? The Starbucks drive-through, which I had no idea where we were as far as Vegas, because I'm not an expert outside of like the Strip and, the close surrounding areas. But, RB3 was on top of it. He had his sick Mercedes. We were rolling around in style. We hit up Starbucks, and then all of a sudden we were in an episode of, comic collectors in cars getting coffee, right? Because that was sort of the theme of the day. We were like shooting the shit about comic books, art, life, investing, just our own lives for 7 or 8 hours while on the road, going from comic shop to comic shop and hanging out. So it was just a blast, dude. Thanks again, man.
So yeah, pretty cool. He was having a problem getting coffee at Rio. I guess what was it, a 20 minute wait?
Yeah, there was like a 20 to 30 minute wait at the Starbucks at Rio. So I'm like, nah, not gonna do this. So So speaking of Comics for Blame, says if you ever find himself in Vegas, he's got to check out Torpedo. So that's the first place that we went. Yo, what's up, Hack79? He's saying he's super excited. Todd McFarlane will be signing at his LCS. That's cool. He's also doing a CGC signing, right? Which is, I'm hearing a lot of noise about that.
I was about to say, he just had a video today talking about what books he will sign and what books he won't sign. And I guess he's had a lot of people asking for him to sign Amazing Fantasy 15s.
Really? McFarlane?
Fantastic Four 1s. And he's like, he has nothing to do with those books. So he's refusing to sign those at this point. So,
I'm kind of glad he's refusing to sign those because I don't want to see any like Fantastic Four 1s with Todd McFarlane's signature on them. That's ridiculous.
So, it's his signature, I think, he can sign whatever he wants to sign, but yeah, I was watching him earlier today and he was just going over everything. So I can't wait to see Todd too. I only have one book signed by Todd, and that was a freak just to get that.
I don't have any books signed by him. I mean, I'm thinking about this CGC thing, but I kind of would like to actually have him sign it in front of me versus sending it to CGC and having it just disappear into the ether and then just all of a sudden show up. I don't know. So George, he said, yeah, Torpedo looked amazing. It was kind of pretty amazing. I mean, from a purchasing standpoint, not so much, because they really ridiculously upcharge, they overpriced their books, right? Like that's the shortest way I can describe it, is like that their books are overpriced. But from a shop, like from an actual experience inside the shop, it was kind of like a nerdgasm, like the giant Silver Surfer, the giant AT-AT, the AT-AT. You got huge statues, you got an awesome displays, you got the whole Bank of Gotham thing in the back with the high-end, super high-end pricey books. Like there was a Superman 1, a Batman 1, a Punch 12. There was the freaking original cover art that McFarlane did for ASM 298, first appearance of Eddie Brock, right on the wall, right outside the Bank of Gotham. It was just kind of blowing my mind as to the setup there. Another good friend of mine is in the house, Sam I Am Comics. What's up, man? I mean, a nerdgasm is the best way I can describe it. It's just, I think we hung out there for almost an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like we did bump into John Dolman, the System of a Down member, who's the owner of the shop, and he was pretty cool. Like him and Ray had a rapport that you could tell goes back a while, because they were kind of like ragging on each other in a sarcastic kind of way, and it was nice to see. And we also bumped into like 2 or 3 other dudes that you knew, that were friends of yours. So I got to meet some more of his friends, which was really cool. And we all just kind of hung out in a comic shop. It was Torpedo Comics, so it's more of a well-known shop, and there's like a bit of a like touristy, part of it for me there, since it was like on my agenda of like places to visit in Vegas, and I've been to Vegas so many times and just had never actually took the time to go over there. So I was glad I did. I was glad a regular like yourself was able to show me. I mean, Ray's a member of their like what is it called? Elite Club or something?
It's a gold. It's a gold
member.
VIP. Yeah.
Right. So
I have VIPs and gold VIPs, and luckily I was one of the first ones to get a gold badge, and that's when I met John. Was back in 2016 when they first started their shop over here, and like I said, it's very, very interesting and nice to have a local shop that has, you know, big books. I mean,
yeah, very, very big books, like big boy books, and big boy books, and insanely crazy original art, like on the walls, like on all the walls. Like it's a little overwhelming in there. It's not a place you can just walk in and just stroll out with like a ton of stuff, because I feel like it's overpriced, and I don't know how much they're willing to negotiate, you know, on those prices or not. I mean, you probably would know more than me, but it was just cool to take the environment in, honestly. And I wasn't really looking to drop a lot of cash there, just because in general they didn't really have anything I was specifically targeting. And then B, even if they did, I'm assuming it would have been overpriced and I would have found a better deal elsewhere. But it was more about just the experience, honestly, of visiting the shop, which I thought was phenomenally laid out and just really, really cool place to hang out, you know, in general. So
yeah. It's definitely a nice shop. I mean, it's just one of those shops that has a little bit of everything for everybody. I mean, they have new books, they have statues, they have toys, hardback books, trade paperbacks, you know, the omnibuses. I mean, they have probably like 5 shelves of omnibuses and hardbacks. And then I think there's like 5 shelves.
They had, rows and rows and rows of back issues of new books. They had a raw book, like they had a higher value raw book wall, which was new apparently. They used to have slabs on it, and now it has higher value like key raw books. And then they had like walls of slabs, and then that whole Bank of Gotham thing, and they had original artwork all around the wall. It was definitely better than any local comic shop as far as like what was there, not necessarily what, you know, the deals, you know, but like what was there was pretty damn cool. Hey, what's up, Russ? Well, thanks for joining me, brother. I appreciate you stopping by. So I mean, from that perspective, it was like an A plus, you know, just from like a total vibe perspective. One of the things that we kind of learned, because they recently just launched a mystery box, which they had never done before, a Torpedo Comics mystery box, which is a higher dollar value mystery box. It's $100 mystery box. So they just started rolling them out. But I guess the carrot or the hook for this mystery box is that you have a chance, by getting this mystery box, you have a chance to win a CGC graded Amazing Fantasy 15 signed by Stan Lee, a 1.8 yellow label signed by Stan Lee. And we were able to actually ask John some more details about the box. And so that it's $100 per box. And what did he say there was? Like 500 total or something like that? Yeah, 500 total. And it's more like, it's not necessarily like a randomized drawing or anything. It's more of like a golden ticket, right? So like hidden inside one of these $100 boxes at Torpedo Comics is a ticket that says, here's your Amazing Fantasy 15 1.8 signed by Stan Lee, which is pretty crazy. But then again, they are selling 500 of them at $100, which is, by my calculations, $50,000 revenue. So it's pretty interesting. It's it's an interesting model. We'll see. You know, somebody out there, I'm sure, will be the one to win that. So, and I'm sure that will emerge on social media when it happens. So,
I think what they're giving away is the Amazing Fantasy 15. I think they have an Iron Man 1. Mm-hmm. And then there was a blank covered book that has a David Finch, Superman and Batman art on it.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And so what they're going to do is, I think it's $100 per box, and they guarantee you at least $100 in books, if not more.
Right. I mean, that's going to ultimately be subjective, but because I didn't buy one, I haven't seen any unboxings or anything like that. But if you are interested, go to Torpedo Comics on Instagram or go to their website or something. I'm sure there's a way to hit them up and buy it without actually physically going to the store. At least that's my assumption. That there would be a way.
I think that's how think that's how you can get it, is through their website or through Instagram or something. When we were there, I don't think John said they were for sale yet. I'm not for sure.
Right. Like I'm with Hack. I'm not really a mystery box guy or fan, but to Mark's point, it is tempting, especially when there's big boy books of that caliber with potentially only $100 investment, or if you buy like 6 of them, however many, it's really up to you and how much risk you want to take on that kind of situation. But anyway, I think we've covered Torpedo Comics pretty well. Like, I think we spent about 90 minutes, maybe even 2 hours there before we left. But and I did pick up a couple books. I will show the books. Nothing crazy. The first book I picked up was Batman 538. So this was my first pickup from Torpedo. Batman 538. This is a Kelly Jones cover. Pretty cool, black and white Kelly Jones right there. So didn't have this one and saw it, and it was in minty shape. I probably paid $2 to $3 more than it was worth because it was a Torpedo, and even the cheap moderns were overpriced in my opinion. But that's fine. I just wanted something that was part of my collecting strategy, part of my collecting needs, while not breaking the bank at Torpedo to remember that trip from. So there's a Batman 538 rather, not 638. And then the other book I picked up was Batman 568. This is a Glenn Orbick cover. I just thought this was a really cool kind of like painted look, Poison Ivy right there, and Batman cover. So, and missing from my Batman boxes run. So that's it. So nothing. So Torpedo Comics, while having an incredibly amazing selection, this is all that they squeezed out of me. 2 modern issues in the 500s of Batman. So that was the start of the purchasing from the comic adventure that I went on with Ray last Friday. But anyway, nice cover, right? So I don't know which one he was talking about, but I think they're both pretty cool covers, and they were both books. I think there's a debate going on. A few extra bucks is okay for me. Exactly. You get to see it. I mean, they were minty copies, and it's part of like the experience of to buy a book at the shop and walk away with it versus always buying online and just waiting for it to be mailed to you and all that kind of thing. So Stephen Oates, what is up? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you joining us. So
I think though with Torpedo, the one thing you do have to take into account is that the prices that they're selling their books for helps cover the artists and writers that they bring in. Because they do bring in artists and writers on a monthly basis.
Right.
The local community, and the local community can go in and meet these people, and most people get to meet the artists and the writers at cons, and there's so little time to get to meet someone.
Right, and they're not doing that for free, and they're providing also your gold member VIPs like you, like experiences where you're actually going out to eat with these artists and stuff like that, and taking pictures with them and stuff like that. You actually get to spend a significant amount of time with them, which is really cool.
We have at the gold members, we get 5 free signatures per a guest, and then we get to go and have lunch with them, and the lunch is free. And we sit there for about 2 hours and eat lunch, ask questions, listen to their stories, and then we have like private photos with them. So that for $500 a year, and you're meeting,
that's really cool.
30 people, at least 30 people per year. So having those prices, helps. I mean, for $500, you gotta.
Yeah, dude, I wish I had something like that, because I got Midtown Comics, obviously, which has 3 pretty large locations in New York City, and they have a ton of signings. But there's no program there that gives you that kind of like personal, lengthy amount of time and interaction. Like, you got to go line up with like 100 or 200 other people in the alley and wait, and stand in line for an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. Like, so I bet I get the opportunity to spend a couple minutes once I get past the line, you know, to sign a couple books and say, you know, your work means a lot to me or whatever it is, you know, but then you're like moved along, you know what I mean? And that's it.
Yeah.
So if there was some sort of program like that, you know, with a shop of that caliber that brings in the kind of talent and opportunities like that, I would absolutely take up a shop on that.
Yeah,
Type of thing.
$500 and you get front of the line privilege.
Yeah,
and you know you get to watch them sign your stuff, or for me, you know, drawing my Spider-Man book. You know, do something right in front of you.
Yeah, your Spider-Man book has a lot of cool stuff in it.
Or you know, if you buy art, because they will offer remarks, they'll offer sketches and everything. So I think it's a pretty good deal. You know, it's just, you just don't get that kind of one-on-one treatment with cons, really. You know, sit there with Jim Lee. I've had lunch with Jim Lee 3 times. You know,
that's awesome, dude.
Sitting there talking to Jim Lee, asking him questions, and him talking to you just like a regular, normal conversation.
For sure.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, dude. If I was in Vegas or maybe even like LA, I might sign up for that thing and just drive over to Vegas for those signings and those lunches, because those sound amazing. Yeah. So I'm going to move on to the second store we hit up, but first I'm going to catch up with what's going on in the chat here. We had a couple more people join. I got issues 2319. My good buddy Chris is in the house. What's up, Chris? Good to see you, man. Jeffrey Comic-Con Henson is in the house. What's up, buddy? And there's some talk about fish sticks. I'm not a fan of fish sticks. I'm a fan of sushi, though. That's for damn sure. All right, so the second shop after Torpedo, great experience, incredible shop. Wasn't going to drop a ton of cash or anything. Just picked up, again, as a refresher, these 2 modern Batman books from Torpedo. The second shop we went to was called Velvet Underground, and this was their newer location. So apparently they had an older location that they were in for a while, and then nice sushi for dinner. So they had an older location for a while, and then they moved to this kind of standalone building that's like, it's not a huge building, it's kind of a small building. And they condensed almost like 4 comic shops worth of stuff into like this one space, and you're like kind of like tippy-toeing around in there, like dodging stuff a little bit. And they had like all sorts of toys, all sorts of collectibles, some not safe for work kind of like adult figures, like just some weird stuff, like right next to stuff that's like for kids. They had stuff that wasn't for kids. It was an interesting shop. The owner was very unique, interesting guy. I had heard a lot of good things about this shop and this owner from my friend Spidey Fan. So when he heard that I was going to Vegas, he strongly suggested I hit this place up. And then I talked to Ray about it, and he was like, yeah, I'll take you there. So any other color you want to add about the shop or the shop owner, or like the history of the shop, Velvet Underground?
I've known the owner of the store is named Steve Riddles, and or Steve Riddler, something like that. And I've known of his shop since '94. '94 is when I got stationed here with the Air Force, and I was just looking for some local stores, and everyone had talked about Velvet Underground, and I mean, it is a unique store now. Yeah. You know, it's before it used to be in like a little shopping center area, and now it's kind of like, I guess it's an old like 60s or 70s house off of Main Street.
That's what it feels like. Yeah.
It reminds me of like a house or maybe an older restaurant, because it had outdoor patio stuff out front.
Yep. Yep. But, yeah. You walk, like, you see the sign, and then you see the building, and you walk through what looks like a porch almost, you know, like a porch deck. And they had like, just, it almost felt like, you know, there was a barbecue about to happen, but there was no one there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then you walk through the second door, and that's like the whole store. And it's they pack so much in there. It's kind of impressive.
I don't think he has inventory problems because he has enough for everyone. The thing that you know, it's just stuff everywhere. It's everywhere. obviously he has a loyal customer base because he has over 200 bull boxes, because the bull boxes are right down the center of the aisle and you can see them.
That's right. That's pretty crazy. How many? I mean, he must have customers for a long time. They had a lot of pull boxes.
And he just has so much stuff. I mean, like with you, when you were in there, there's no
room to like move.
There's no room to move, and there's no, I mean, if I went,
there's no rhyme or reason for what is you're looking at, like compared to what's next to it. Like there's almost
he even had books taped or something to the roof, the ceiling.
Yeah, he had books taped to the ceiling so that you could look up and like browse books.
And these were like Silver Age books.
Yeah, not cheap books. Like,
and
what?
I think that the problem is that he just has so much stuff that someone like you or me just walking in and just say, hey, I want to see all your older Batman stuff.
Right.
It would be hard pressed. I mean, he would have to show you where they're at, because you just can't. It's not like a normal store where you can just go in and say, here's the Batman.
Yeah, a normal store, you can kind of find your own way and start, either digging through boxes or looking at the right part of the wall or whatever. And this place was more like, this guy was like the master keeper of the shop, and you have to like go up to it. If you know what you're looking, like if you're looking for something specific, you got to ask him where to look.
Yeah.
But if you're not looking for something specific, I guess you can just like, we weren't really looking for anything specific, so we just kind of took it in a little bit and like chilled. And you caught up with them because you had, at some point probably met him a few times in the past and whatnot. So
our buddy Spidey fan is in the house.
Oh, there he is. What's up, Spidey fan? I just mentioned you. So, yeah, don't worry. Catch up on the stream or just, catch the beginning later. But good. And thanks for stopping in, man. So, yeah, dude, like it was an interesting shop. It was very unique.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting shop. So I'll just get to the haul real quick. So keeping with the 2-book theme, which will be the theme of the entire night, 2 books again at this shop. I picked up, so this is a relatively recent book. This is Absolute Carnage #2. This is the, I believe, 1 in 25 Marcos Martin Codex variant. So nice and, 9.8 minty shape book. And he had really good prices. So like he had good prices to begin with, and then he would knock additional money off the books. And he had a lot of, I think, unsorted variants, like modern variants, like ratio variants and things like that. Like I had found a couple of those boxes. So I at least knew what I was looking at when I found those boxes, but the majority of the shop, I had no idea what I was looking at because it was so kind of disorganized. Not in a bad way necessarily, but just, in a way that made it difficult if you're looking for something specific to know where it is, like to the point earlier. And then the other book I got was this 1 in 10 retailer incentive for TMNT issue number 98. So those are the 2 books I picked up from Velvet Underground. And then we moved on to I think eating some barbecue, and we had quite a few conversations both in the car and over the meal about our lives and various things that were going on, like career and future plans on your end, and I was like I was weighing in on some of that stuff. We were mixing it up. That was a good time, man. I definitely enjoyed having a meal with you. And then we went to a third shop, right? What was the third one called? Cosmic? Was it Cosmic?
Cosmic Comics.
Yeah. Cosmic Comics. So this shop was like the total opposite of Velvet Underground, meaning that they had a lot of space to work with, and they used the space so much to the point where it's like it felt almost very spread out. And they had a lot of stuff in there, a lot of inventory, a lot of back issues. They had Golden Age, like Western back issues. Like they had a very eclectic selection of back issues. They had these fancier, like shelf style racks for the pricier back issues. They had slabs behind the counter. They had a whole bunch of omnibus trade paperback. Then they had the whole new comic book wall and everything. They had all sorts of T-shirts, posters. So this was like your one-stop shop kind of comic book store where they have a little bit of everything. So if you're new to collecting or you're just kind of getting into it, because of the movies, or I felt like it was a great place for a newer collector to go to kind of just discover various parts or aspects of the hobby. That was my vibe from that place, and the people there were very friendly. Ray was getting some intel, and I later ran into the owner at the Great American Comic Con that was happening at the convention center on Sunday. So met the guy on Friday, and then I later bumped into him at the con on Sunday, which was pretty cool. Even some of the other people I met on Friday, I bumped into at the con on Sunday, because a lot of the people in that circle were going to be at the con that weekend. So it was a good store. Anything else you want to like add about that? Like, how long have you been aware of that place?
Cosmic Comics, yeah, they're one of the older stores in Vegas. Again, I was visiting them in '94 also. When I first got here, Velvet Underground was more of the new stuff. I'd actually mentioned that, to Riddle that I had traded him Star Wars TIE Fighters, brand new, still in the box, for Witchblade comics, She comics, stuff like that. The 90s hot girl comics. And I was trading sealed Star Wars toys for Witchblade books. And then Cosmic Comics, they were the ones that they used to have a store like Riddle's, like Velvet Underground, where it was very small and very tight. You couldn't get in, but they had all the old books. I mean, you could go in, and that's where I bought a Spider-Man #2 at. And this was in '94. And I bought a Spider-Man #2 for $60.
Damn, you mean ASM 2, like Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man #2.
I'll circle back to it when I tell the story about Sunday. But that was one of the books I was targeting for Sunday.
Yeah, the first Vulture, and I paid $60 for it from Cosmic Comics, and then
nice.
The owner, there was two brothers, and they actually have sold the store to this new guy. I don't know his name. And he moved the store to a new location. And like you said, it's a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
To me, it is, it's the best of all three. You had a store, you had organization, you had new and old books, and it was very clean. And you could pick up models there. They had games there, T-shirts, posters. If you were into new books, they had new books. If you wanted variants, they had variants. They just had enough stuff for, like you said, a new collector to walk in and just say, hey, I just saw this movie and I want to read this. And it's like, well, do you want the old stuff? I've got the new stuff. Or do you want the new stuff? So
that's a good point. Torpedo is your high end. Velvet, I don't want to say Velvet was your low end, because they had a lot of different types of stuff in their inventory, but it felt more like DIY. You know what I mean? Like with the one guy and like maybe a small supporting cast, like handling a lot, and then Cosmic Comics felt like that happy medium where it's like, modern feel, very clean, lots of room to move around, but pretty much any kind of thing that you might be looking for, they at least have some of it there for you to check out. So I thought it was a cool shop. So again, another 2-book haul from Cosmic Comics, nothing crazy. We got Batman issue number 44 from the New 52 with, of course, great jock cover there. So that was the first book I picked up from Cosmic Comics. Love that jock cover, and this is a nice high grade minty copy there. And then this book, which I've never actually seen this book in the wild. I'm sure it's out there in like cheaper bins or whatever, but I'm a big Mark Brooks fan, and I saw this Uncanny X-Men Special #1. This is from like that whole Marvel Now era, I think like 2014 or so. But this is Uncanny X-Men Special #1. This is the variant, the Mark Brooks variant. So that was the other book that I picked up there from Cosmic Comics. So 2 books again. So we got 3 comic shops that we visited on Friday, and I picked up 2 books at each of them. I'll do a quick recap of what books I picked up from those shops. I picked up Batman 538 and 568 from Torpedo Comics. I picked up Absolute Carnage #1, the 1 in 25 Marcos Martin Codex variant, and the 1 in 10 TMNT 98 retailer incentive variant from Velvet Underground. And then from Cosmic Comics, I picked up Batman 44 jock cover and the Uncanny X-Men Special #1 Mark Brooks variant edition. So nothing crazy. I didn't go wild at those local comic shops. It was more about the hang, spending time with you, more so than anything. But I did splurge a little bit more on the con day, which I'll get to next. But I will do one more check-in with the chat because it looks like we got a couple more people joining us here. Let's see here. JP Budget Collecting is in the house. What is up, JP?
What's up, JP?
JP, I believe he shouted you out in his contest, which is live now, as one of the people that he he first supported him, or he felt first, I guess, like comfortable in the community in your chat. So that you've definitely been missed, dude. And not only did I get to spend time hanging out with you in person, but I get to bring you back live onto YouTube on my channel. So I feel really privileged right now.
You're the first one since I think February. Or
yeah,
March.
You haven't been live in a long time, man. Yeah. So I appreciate that. So Mark Knapp 68 says sometimes the cluttered you find the best deals. They're not always on top of the price and forget what they have. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. And I did find that the prices in general at Velvet Underground were better. I didn't buy a lot. I still only picked up those 2 kind of cheap books, but that is definitely a good point. So yeah, I mean, that was an awesome day, dude. And, I think we wrapped up maybe around 6, 7 o'clock at night. I went back to the hotel, took a little bit of a break. Then I went back out. I met up with a friend, a work colleague. We went to this kind of this Star Wars / nerd themed bar called Millennium Fandom Bar. So that was really cool. We went there. They had all these like Star Wars and Marvel themed like drinks on the menu. They had all sorts of atmosphere and like, displays and stuff. And they just put you in this kind of like cool Star Wars nerd style environment. It didn't really look like the cantina scene or anything like that, but it had a cool vibe to it. So I hung out there for a while, had a couple drinks and whatnot. And then I had to go head back because my brother was getting into town. And, the main purpose of the Vegas trip was to hang out, spend some quality time with my brother, go see Jerry Seinfeld at Caesar's Palace on Saturday. So we ended up doing that. Jerry was hilarious. Killed it. He's 65 years old, still got it. He did slip up and accidentally say Atlantic City instead of Vegas. And then he caught himself and he was like, that's the last time I'm drinking before the show or something like that. So there was a little bit of like an awkward moment at the start where he literally thought he was in Atlantic City instead of Vegas for a second, which is a little embarrassing. But from there on out, he was killing it. And me and my brother just had an absolute blast of a time seeing him. Like Seinfeld was basically our favorite show growing up. We would watch it religiously. So to be able to see him live with my brother was a great bonding trip for us. Great family hang there. And then on Sunday, we both checked out of the hotel, and he had about 6 or 7 hours to kill before his flight. And I had like 12 hours to kill before my flight. So that we had a lot of time to kill. So we went to a brewery. We checked out, some beer. Like that's more of his thing than my thing. So we did one thing for him, and then we did one thing for me, which was head over to the Great American Comic Con Day 2 Sunday at the Las Vegas Convention Center, a smaller con, a local con, mostly local dealers and local vendors. From like either the Vegas or California areas for the most part. At least that's, what I learned while I was there. My brother had never been to a Comic-Con before, and I don't know if this was the ideal first one for him to go to because it didn't really, in my opinion, didn't really, necessarily represent, what your normal con is like because it was kind of empty. I'll be honest. Like I wasn't there Saturday for day 1. Maybe there was higher, attendance on Saturday, but Sunday was pretty bare bones as far as any foot traffic. But there was, I will second that. So awesome to see RB3 on YouTube again. And JB is in the house. What's up, JB? Discovery Bay Comics. Thanks for stopping in, brother. So yeah, I mean, for a con in Vegas, it was like in that one smaller corner of the convention center. The con floor was not very long. There was really not a lot of people attending there, but there was a decent sampling of. There was a decent selection of local vendors. I mean, Torpedo was there, of course. Red Hood, the former Torpedo guy, was there. A bunch of other not Las Vegas area or Southern California area vendors were there. There was an artist alley that Mark Bagley was there. Alex Saviuk was there. Clayton Crane was there. David Michelini was there, the writer. So that was pretty cool, actually. And then I actually went to go see a Spider-Man panel with my brother because I wanted to take him to a panel. He had never been to one, and it was Bagley, it was Saviuk, and it was Michelini, and that was a pretty cool panel. Got to see them, and I went up to their booths later and checked out some of their stuff that they had and everything. But my main mission there wasn't really to do signatures, commissions or sketch or anything like that. Like, I didn't come prepared for that kind of con experience. This was more of a last minute con experience on Sunday while killing time for my flights. And I didn't plan on spending a lot of money, but I found a deal, and one thing led to another. And I ended up picking up a bigger book than I honestly expected to on this trip. I also picked up a smaller book, which is a book I've been looking for, raw in decent shape for a good price. And George is commenting about the fact that Bagley owes him a Scarlet. He does owe you one. And honestly, dude, if I wasn't there on Sunday for like the last 4 or 5 hours of the con, I would have probably tried to hook that up for you, but it was too late for Bagley. I was, I couldn't risk, missing. Well, I wouldn't have risked missing my flight, but I was just essentially too late. By the time I showed up, or he got to his table. Glitter and Duct Tape, what is up? Good evening to you as well. And Fuchsia, what's going on? Thanks for stopping in, Fuchsia. Always good to see you. Thanks for turning up, everybody. So basically, I'm on the last day of Vegas. We're at the con. My brother has only like about an hour or so left, 30 minutes, 40 minutes before he has to leave because his flight's much earlier than mine. His flight home was 5 hours earlier than mine. And he's traveling to a different part of the country. He's up in the Portland, Oregon area, whereas I'm in obviously the New York City area, right? So, George, it's all good. He just liked bitching about it. I know you do. I'll do it like this. First, I'll show you the smaller book, which I just picked up for a decent price. I don't even remember the name of the dealer, if I'm honest. But this is a run that I've been working on. I have issue 2 and a lot of the other issues in the run, but I've held off on getting issue number 1. So I found a pretty nice copy of issue number 1 raw, which is what I was looking for. So this is Invaders number 1. So got a pretty cool deal on that one. And then the other book has the story, right? So I will tell the story. So the story of the other book is that the other book I really wanted to try and find at this con on Sunday was Amazing Spider-Man number 2, which I talked about a little bit earlier because you said you bought ASM 2 from Cosmic Comics, right, for like $60 back in the day. So that's obviously the first appearance of Vulture. Yo, what's up, Comics 559? Good to see you. So, and Old Wolf 65's in the house. What's up, Old Wolf? Thanks, JB. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's a good book. It's not like a super hard book to find or track down or crazy pricey or anything, but I thought it was a pretty good copy, good presenting copy. Anyway, ASM 2 was kind of the book I was going after. It's the book I was looking for. Unfortunately, there was only a couple copies in the room, and I wasn't happy with any of the conditions and or prices that I was seeing for that book. So I kind of was just like, okay, mission failed, right? I'm not going to find the bigger book that I'm targeting on this con day while I'm killing time for my flight. And So I moved on to some other books that, you know, that I had been on the list for a while, and I didn't really have much luck there. So I kind of went further down or further back away in my mind that I was going to have any sort of major pickup at this con. Then I'm approaching the last hour, essentially the last hour that the con is open. You know, their vendors are starting to pack up to some degree, but I saw a book that two vendors had. Okay, two vendors had the same book. They were set up next to each other. They didn't start they didn't start packing up yet. And the one dealer on the left had the book priced for $850 more than the dealer on the right. Same grade, okay? CGC graded book, same grade. The one on the left had higher page quality, but that doesn't justify $850, you know, worth of overpricing. And the other guy had it priced $850 lower. And I checked GPA, I checked FMV. It was below GPA, below FMV. So I started talking to him about the book. And, you know, at first I lowballed him, and, you know, we did the dance, you know how it is with negotiating. We did the dance, and finally we came to a number which was even lower than GPA and FMV. Then, you know, his starting price was lower than FMV and GPA, and it was $850 cheaper than the dealer right next to him with the same book at the same grade. And I was like, all right, I got to make this deal. I got to work this deal out. And so we did that. And then it was a cash deal. I only had a certain amount of cash on me, being it's Vegas. I didn't do really any gambling also while I was there. So I'm kind of proud of myself on that one, outside of comic books, I guess. But I only had a certain amount of cash on me. So then I had to go use their ATMs, figure out cash. Unfortunately, it was one of those like third-party ATM systems that only allows you to take $200 out at a time, which is, you know, a pain in the ass. And the time for like the con being open is like dwindling down. Finally, after like several attempts, I get the cash together, and I go back in there, and we close the deal. And I got a great book that I've always wanted, in a grade that I can probably live with for a long time. And, you know, I probably will have no problem flipping this book if I ever need to flip it, because I think I could already make a profit on it, frankly. Probably what will be resubmitting it to CGC to get it reholdered in the new case, right? Because I'm not a big fan of the Gen 2 case. But other than that, I'm really happy with this book. And here it is. Avengers #1, CGC 3.5. So the first Avengers, I will go full screen for a second so you guys can see it. But there you go. Happy as hell to have this book in my collection. I've been probably eyeing this book on and off for 4 years, maybe 3-4 years, and I've just never found it at a grade/price that I could live with, and I finally did, and I'm pretty happy as hell, honestly, that I have this book. So I walked away with a major grail and memories that I'll always treasure, both meeting you, dude, spending time with my brother, and meeting a bunch of cool people in the Las Vegas comic community scene. Like a lot of the people that we saw on Friday, I saw again at the con on Sunday, and I got to meet a lot of cool new dealers on Sunday. So yeah, dude, I'm pretty stoked, and I get to walk away with this grail and all these stories and all these memories. So really awesome time, and definitely looking forward to going back to Vegas again and hanging out with you some more, dude. I really had a great time. So
actually, that's a really nice book you got. So congrats on that.
Thanks, brother.
You know, what I would do is get you a nice Avengers 4 to go right along with it.
I hope so. Yeah, that's another book that I don't have that has been on the list for a while, and I just have never.
I forgot to show your one book that you picked up at Torpedo. You forgot to show your Batman 1 that you bought from over there.
Shut up. The only thing I forgot to show is the program for the, this is the program for the Great American Comic-Con Las Vegas, which is pretty cool. You got the Welcome to Las Vegas sign there, and you got some Venom Carnage action right there. It was done by Free Isabello and Joe Bernardo. So there you go. There's the program. But, you know, let's be real. I mean, this was a cool pickup, but this is the Grail right here. So I am really stoked and happy that I have that in my collection right now. So
that Invaders one has great color, though. I mean, just looking at it on the screen.
Yeah, dude. So thanks to everybody in the chat with the positivity. Thank you so much. I probably missed some comments here. Thank you, JB. Thank you, JP. Thank you, Fuchsia. Thank you, George. Yep, old label. I probably will have that clean and pressed because it's in the old label. So I think I don't know if it honestly has a chance for a bump or not. But you never know. And I'm not actually familiar with this. I'm not actually familiar with this pedigree, but apparently this is it's a pedigree, the Tongji Farm collection. Like it came with the COA that it's part of this pedigree, but I don't think there's provenance, so I can't get a CGC black label. I'll have to talk to somebody like JD that's an expert on that. But that wasn't really why I bought it, because comes from a pedigree or a well-known collection. So I have, yeah, I mean, D's like, or George's like, get that Avengers label on it. Maybe I might do that. Maybe. I haven't gotten the graders notes. I probably will. I don't know if I can get the black label because you need a certain level of provenance, right? To prove that it is a pedigree book. I think this is a scenario where the people that helped originally sell this original owner collection put together this COA themselves, and this COA has probably been traveling with this book every time it's been sold since then. You know what I mean? Like I believe this was slabbed in 2006. This copy, 2006 or 2007. So it's probably exchanged hands quite a bit is my assumption. So George just bought the notes for his 181. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that you got to buy graders notes for books that you own, but I won't get into a rant about that. There's plenty of things I could rant about. But thank you, JB. It is a Grail. So, and you know, I might get it pressed and cleaned. I'm in no rush to get it pressed, cleaned, or reslabbed, or putting a custom label on it or whatever. I just want to live with the book for a little bit, and maybe next year at some point I will look into some of those other things. So, yeah. What else you got going on, dude? I mean, outside of the call, I think probably the highlight for me was us kind of talking shop, a little bit like about comics, about, trying to make a profit on books, and about art, and, the way that they appreciate or depreciate, or certain market trends that we're seeing, and some of the things that you have going on, some of the things that I have going on behind the scenes. I don't know. Do you want to share any of that stuff? I'm going to leave that up to you, because I know you got some cool stuff on the horizon that you're about to roll out to everybody. Some opportunities to get books to the community. You want to share anything? I mean, because I had a great time talking to you about it. I'm really curious to see how it all plays out for you.
I would have to say that, I think that was probably the most enjoyable part was.
Yeah, dude, shooting the shit with you. Man. That was the best.
We spent, I would say maybe 2 hours at the barbecue place just chatting.
Yep.
And then probably another 3 hours just driving
in the car. Yeah, in the car in between shops and visits, just shooting the shit.
In cars,
Yeah, like I made that joke earlier, but if we filmed it, it would have been like an entertaining episode. Like if we had stuck a camera,
a phone on the dashboard and just filming us chatting about comics and life in general and stuff, and it was just very, very interesting. As everyone knows, I had a YouTube channel. Oh my goodness, I started my YouTube channel 2018.
Yeah,
2018, I think it was early.
That's when I started mine. Also, I started mine October of 2018.
I think I was January 2018. Maybe actually December 2017, and I was giving away a bunch of cool stuff each month, and then I had that Christmas, 12 days of Christmas, and last Christmas, giving away a lot of stuff,
Right.
And then
yeah, one of which is like back there. You see that that Harley Quinn? There it is.
Yep.
The Harley Quinn print. That was signed by Jim Lee. That was something that that I won on RB3's 12 Days of Christmas or whatever last year. So that was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and I took a break from the channel in February. Just some stuff was going on, and everything's been taken care of. And now I'm just getting back into it. My channel was mostly into investment type stuff. A lot of what's going on in older books, things like that, and so it was pretty interesting, really, and comic art. I'm really big comic art, and no one on YouTube that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I mean, you were the first guy that I sort of looked to for any original comic art sort of guidelines or advice, tips, tricks, and that I think we started communicating very regularly on Instagram and maybe even email a little bit to start because of that. And obviously my collecting in the art game I've stepped that up, and it's become more of a major bulk of what I do as far as collecting now. And I think a lot of that, not necessarily, I'm not blaming you, but I am giving you credit for helping flesh out my knowledge base of that space and how it all works. Comic Kid 84 is in the house. What's up, Kenny? You are very late, brother. I already went through almost the whole story, but I will do a quick recap of the books shortly. Aggressively Relaxing. What's up? What's going on? Thanks for stopping by. So what were you saying?
Well, like I said, thanks for the good comment and everything. Because I was out of the comic hobby for roughly 20-something years. I had a very nice collection, and when our daughter was born, I sold my whole collection in 1998. And the only books that I bought during that time that I was away was the Jim Lee Hush series.
Right.
I just loved his art, and then once my daughter moved off and went to college, then in 2016, I think it was, 2016. That's when I started buying books, buying books and stuff. And then
empty nest syndrome.
And the book buying lasted maybe 8 months.
Yeah.
And then I was bitten by the art bug, and the art bug just once you get it, it's like, oh, gotta have this, I gotta have that. It's very, very addictive.
It is very addictive. Okay, dude, I'm off the deep end. Like, honestly, I haven't even shown the majority of the art I have in my collection anywhere on YouTube, on Instagram. Like, I've shown a couple things here and there, especially the Kirby piece, because that was just like a very, very monumental moment for me as a collector to actually acquire a Kirby. But I have a lot more art that I'd love to share at some point. It's just a lot harder to share on a screen or taking a picture and fitting it into like the Instagram. Like, I don't know, it's not as easy. Like, comic book is like a nice concise size. I can just grab it and show it. Like, whereas the artwork, it's not always the case. And like a lot of it I have framed or up on the wall or in a portfolio or, it's just all over the place. So I need to figure out like a system for me to be able to share.
Art is a whole different complete monster. I mean, at least books, with books, you have them either graded in CGC holders or you have them in bags and boards and you can just hold them and show them. Art, and especially when you're talking about the prices on art, you just don't want to be handling art and just, hey, look at what I got, I mean, that's good for maybe one.
I mean, it's risky. It's risky to like be messing around with it on,
And plus, I've learned this, a lot of art collectors, they just really don't want to show what they have just because.
That's true. I kind of have a little bit of that. In me, I guess, because I'm still relatively new. I've been, I've only been collecting art for 2 years, so, or maybe even a little under 2 years. Like Yeah, if I count, I count like sketch covers and things like that as part of it to some degree, because I only got into that starting a couple years ago. But the published pieces and stuff like that, I don't have as much. Like, I don't. There are collectors out there that have been accumulating the stuff since the 80s and 90s, where they could essentially steal these things, and now they're flipping them or whatever. It's like it's a whole different animal. It's a very interesting space that I'm learning a lot more about, and a lot of it is partially thanks to you that I learned about it. So
and plus art can be so personal. I mean, you get it, and you're just like, holy cow! Some people just don't understand it because you might just find that one piece that just really spoke to you that might have got you into collecting comics.
For sure.
And it's like, holy cow, this is so amazing to have this piece, or to see some of these pieces in person. It's just amazing.
Definitely.
Anybody can go out and go to any comic book store, or you can go on eBay or whatever, Heritage, and you can get Jim Lee comic books. But to have a Jim Lee piece of art,
it's the one of one factor that really just it appeals to me. The one of one factor appeals to me more than like the ratio variants, or even like the low copies on the CGC census of like a Golden Age book. You know what I mean? Things like that. Like, there's different degrees of rarity and scarcity, and just art is the ultimate of that. It's the one of one. So, hey, what's up? Biggie Shack's in the house, the immortal Biggie Shack. Always good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping in, brother. I am gonna do he's like, I gave NYC that fly because he's a fly. That's awesome. So that's cool, George. You got a oh wait, I clicked on the wrong comic. Spidey Fan says Cosmic has a ton of blank sketch covers from our call, still 30 minutes behind. So he's still catching up to where we're at right now, talking about Cosmic Comics, Comics for Blames, talking about he's got one page of published art. It's in a frame. Nice. I like framing my artwork too, but I don't frame all of it, but I like to frame. I've framed a good chunk of it. George is working on a sketch that's coming back to him this Friday. That's very cool. So I'll do a quick recap of the haul, guys, because some of you guys have joined late. So I'll do this super quickly. I'm not going to go through the stories again. If you want the stories, go back, rewind, watch the stories. But here's the haul. So from Torpedo Comics, I got this Batman 538. It's a Kelly Jones cover. Nice minty copy. And then I also got this Glenn Orbick cover for Batman 568. Really cool Poison Ivy and Batman painted cover look there. Then from Velvet Underground Comics, I got this Absolute Carnage #2. This is the 1 in 25 Marcos Martin Codex variant. So pick that up. Then I picked up this issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #98. This is the 1 in 10 retailer incentive. So grab that. And then from Cosmic Comics, I grabbed this New 52 Batman #44. So, of course, that's a gorgeous jock cover there. I love that cover. Batman 44. And then I picked up this all-new Marvel Now era Uncanny X-Men Special #1 variant. So that's a Mark Brooks cover. Love that Mark Brooks cover. Just love Mark Brooks in general. And then on Sunday at the Las Vegas Great American Comic Con 2019, this was the program for the event. So grab that, and I put it in a bag and board just because it's in very minty shape, and I like keeping my con programs as little souvenirs. So pretty cool there. You got the Welcome to Las Vegas sign, and you got some Carnage and Venom action. This was done by Free Isabello and Joe Bernardo. So that was part of the, I count that as part of the haul, even though it wasn't a pickup. And then the first pickup from the con day was Invaders #1. So pretty nice copy there, Invaders #1. I've been working on this run from the Bronze Age, and I didn't have issue #1, and had been looking for it for a minute. And then the big boy of the whole shebang from the trip and from the weekend and from that day, there was definitely a story to it. So if you want the story, rewind and go listen to the story. But there it is. Avengers #1, CGC 3.5, old case, possibly a clean press resubmit regrade candidate, or I might just stick with a 3.5 and get it reholdered in the new case. I'm in no rush to figure it out. It also came with a COA because it's part of a I guess a well-known collection, original owner collection of over 7,000 comic books that this original owner accumulated from 1962 to 1978 in Lawrence, Kansas. So that's where the collection was located. It's called the Tanji Farm collection. So I don't think it comes with enough provenance to get a black label with CGC, but definitely a grail book for me. I was originally looking for Amazing Spider-Man #2, first appearance of Vulture. Couldn't find one in a grade or price or position that I could negotiate something that I was happy with. So I went further down the list on other books that that I've been meaning to pick up or have been long-term goal list books, and this is one of them. So Avengers #1. So there you go. That's the recap of the whole. And really the recap of the trip was Friday, all day Friday was me and RB3, NYC RB3 link up. We're going to be doing more of that. And then Saturday was a day spent with my brother. Got to see, the legend Jerry Seinfeld live, all about Seinfeld, the NYC, man. I love it. So that was such a blast, and it was a great day with my brother. And then on Sunday, we did a couple other things on Saturday that I'll leave out. I also went to a Star Wars bar on Friday night with a work colleague, which was really cool. It's called the Millennium Fandom Bar. And then on Sunday, we went to a brewery, and then I went to the con also with my brother, and then we sort of parted ways because he had an earlier flight. And then I was on the red eye, and then I was back in New York City like 8:30 in the morning, Monday, ready to go. And I had a jet lag filled day that, was filled with, that had a lot of naps and like just catching up to the time zone difference and the flying and sort of all the stuff that was going on those 3 days. And then yesterday morning, I broke my toe again. Broke my toe, up against the side of the bathroom wall or bathroom door. Just wasn't paying attention. So I've become an expert at breaking my toe. This is literally the third time I've broken the same toe in the last year. So I'm currently nursing that, and it really hurts. I had some, I've been going a little bit heavy on the sauce for like pain management reasons. But I think it'll be a week or so of like recovery, and then from there it'll just get better. Like a week or so of pain, I guess, is what I'm expecting, and then it'll get slightly better and slightly better. But anyway, that was the trip, guys, and really RB3, man, like major props to you, dude. I mean, I think you definitely made the trip one to remember, dude. So I appreciate that, man.
Hey, buddy, I appreciate it. And, don't be modest and not showing that Batman #1,
Dude, stop playing with me.
It's just, you need to get some lights in that new house you got, because 5,000 square feet at night,
Dude, shut up. That is not how much space I got. That's not how much space I got.
So you need some night lights or something in there, buddy, to help you see around. So, but that's all right. The Batman one. I understand you don't want to share it with anyone.
Dude, I do not have Batman one. Do not believe a word that this guy says about that.
No, I actually did have a Batman one, but it was actually in pretty bad condition. I mean, the whole bottom left was completely gnawed off, but still, it's a Batman one.
What's up, Jay Salsa? Thanks for stopping by, brother. So Biggie Shacks asked me when I'm opening is A-OK. So I already opened the package, but I didn't open the books. So I've got like 7 or 8 packages from community members. Some of them are A-OK. Some of them are like auction wins. Some of them are like specific, I think, deals that I worked out with said community members. So I got a whole bunch of boxes that I need to open up. So I'm going to do that possibly tomorrow night, maybe Friday, earlier in the afternoon or something like that. So I'm gonna do like an unboxing marathon of packages from the community members, from other fellow YouTube community members. And Biggie Shack's AOK, he AOK'd me like an actual championship belt, which is really cool, and some books. I didn't see what books were in there, and I purposefully didn't watch his KOA video, so I would be surprised, and I'll watch the KOA video afterwards. So I'm going to do that sort of unboxing video at some point in the next couple days, opening up a whole bunch of packages from community members, some AOKs in there, and also some books I bought from community members in there. So yeah, kind of like a Discovery Bay unboxing marathon to some degree. What's up, Houdat? Good to see you, brother. What's up, 36 Chambers, 2.
Louisiana, Houdat.
RB3, no, he's not, JP. No. Yeah, dude, I'm down to do it. I'm down to hop on, or if you want to hop on my stream, that would be cool, since I don't have much content. You got way more content than me. Biggie, doesn't matter what the books are, dude. It's just the thought that counts, man. And frankly, like the championship belt is like awesome, dude, because I didn't have a belt. I just had a cup, as you guys all know, as the Hunt champion, defending Hunt world champion. That's right. If you guys are coming in late, I mean, the big headline is Avengers #1. And then maybe the minor headline is Invaders #1, but 2 key #1 issues. But yeah, George, hit me up on IG for scheduling, dude. Because I'd love to link up and do that together, which would be cool rather than just doing it alone, by myself, all by myself. All right, so that's it, dude. That's the show. Any parting word? I mean, if you're not subbed up to RB3, let me say this right now. If you're not subbed up to RB3, go sub up RB3. He's been chatting in the chat. His link to his channel is in the description below here. One of the greats in our community, took a little hiatus. Now he's coming back full force. He's got some major stuff that he's going to be dropping on you. Some opportunities for you guys to get books for great prices. So I had to throw that in there. But anything else you want to say before we part?
Not really. I mean, like I said, I really appreciate it. I appreciate you coming, and it was really interesting and fun just spending some quality time and
yeah, dude,
sitting there getting to see 3.
Because it wasn't just like a quick hit hello. It was like we hung out for like 8 hours in a row. Like it was fun.
I really appreciate that. If anyone else is ever in Vegas or, coming to visit Vegas, hit me up. We definitely can see the sights and the shops and everything. And, it's just really fun. Seeing the books and buying the books and everything that's good. I mean, that's what we're in this hobby for, is to pick up books and stuff. But the people is what really makes this community a great community and a great hobby to be in. And
I couldn't agree more. And guys, I do not have a Batman one. Do not be shocked when I don't pull out the Batman. Just
there's reasons. There's tax reasons.
I got a Batman 1 Rebirth edition from 2016.
So. And, like you said, next year, I plan on, I'm not going to do it for Christmas. I don't have enough inventory or anything, but next year I'm definitely going to be doing the once a month giveaways again. Probably do the 12 days of Christmas next year too. We have a lot of artists coming in in 2 weeks, I think we get Stan Sakai and Kevin Eastman. So I'll be getting some books and stuff signed by them, and I'm going to hold those, and then next year I'll just start giving away a whole bunch of stuff like I did before. I mean,
nice,
there's nothing like being able to support a good community like this. You have some bad apples every now and then, but for vast majority, everyone that I've dealt with in this community has just been great. So. Like I said, if you're ever in Vegas, hit me up and we can hang out. We can do a comics and cars in Vegas.
Right. I can't wait for episode 2 of our show. That'll be good.
Because I tell you, the conversation that we had in that car, I mean, I wish we would have recorded it. Because
I honestly wish we were recording it too.
It was so full of wisdom. I guess you could say wisdom. You know,
Yeah.
Wisdom and experience.
It's like I benefited from your knowledge and experience, and then you benefited from my point of view, I feel. You know what I mean? Maybe not so much my knowledge and experience, because I'm not that smart.
Like I said, you gave me a lot of good tips as far as my YouTube channel, what I need to do with it, where I need to go, and I guess, you know, how to handle that. So very, very good, you know.
Oh yeah, we had some good conversations about that for sure.
But
and I think hopefully part of that strategy is coming on my show a lot more. So come on my show, sub to RB3, we're golden. How about that? Let's do it.
That's fine.
Regular basis. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out another time for us to link up again, because it was a fun show. We had strong turnout tonight. So thanks everybody for showing up in the chat. We appreciate you. And anybody watching this on replay. Oh, what's up? I missed Rag718. Sorry about that, brother. But good to see you. What's up, Rag? Thanks again, everybody, for hopping on. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday, New Comic Book Day. I might hopefully have a New Comic Book Day haul video at some point between now and the weekend. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see if I have time for it. But looks like George and I, D-Runk, are going to be linking up maybe to do an unboxing party or unboxing marathon on Friday. So we'll talk about that and figure it out, and then set it up so you guys can see it out there on the YouTube feed. So that's it, guys. Thanks again, and we'll catch you on the next time. See ya.
See ya.